What if your retirement calculator says 95% success, and that number is giving you a false sense of security? Most Americans see a high percentage and assume their retirement is almost guaranteed. But here's the reality. Monte Carlo is testing your portfolio, not your life. Your spending, behavior, taxes, health, and market timing can completely change the outcome. So what is that 95% actually telling you? Welcome to American Dream Finance. In this video, we'll uncover what retirement calculators really measure, where their biggest blind spots are, and how to use them correctly. Stay until the end because I'll show you the simple framework for turning that 95% into a real retirement strategy you can actually act on. The biggest problem: treating the Monte Carlo score like a fact. A retirement calculator might show you 87%, 92%, or even 95% success. And it is very easy to look at that number and think, great, my retirement plan has a 95% chance of working. But that is not really what the number means. This is the first mistake I want you to avoid. A Monte Carlo retirement calculator is not predicting your future. It is running your financial plan through a large number of simulated market scenarios and checking how often the money lasts under the assumptions built into the model. That distinction matters. If your calculator says 95% success, it does not mean there's a 95% chance that your actual retirement will be successful. It means the model found that your portfolio survived in roughly 95% of the scenarios it tested. Those are two very different statements. Part 1. Why this matters. Think about what a retirement calculator actually knows about you. It may know your current portfolio. It may know your planned retirement age. It may know how much you expect to spend each year. It may include assumptions for investment returns, inflation, taxes, and longevity. But it does not know what your next 25 or 30 years will actually look like. It doesn't know whether you'll spend more money in your first 5 years of retirement because you finally have the time to travel. It doesn't know whether you'll cut spending after a major market decline. It doesn't know whether you'll help your daughter with a home purchase. And it doesn't know whether your healthcare expenses will be very different from the way the model assumed. Most importantly, it doesn't know how you will behave when your portfolio falls 30%. That's a major limitation. Imagine you retire at 65 with $1 million. Your calculator gives you a 92% success rate. Then 2 years into retirement, the stock market falls sharply. The calculator doesn't panic. It doesn't change its investment strategy. It doesn't suddenly decide that cash feels safer. It simply follows the rules you gave it. You, however, are a real person. You might decide to stop spending for a while. You might move more money into cash. You might sell stocks after the market has already fallen. Or you might stay invested and continue following your plan. Your behavior can change the outcome, even when the original simulation looked excellent. There's another problem. The number on the screen depends on the assumptions behind it. Change the expected investment returns, inflation rate, withdrawal strategy, tax assumptions, or life expectancy, and the result can change significantly. So two retirement plans can produce different percentages without either calculator being mathematically broken. The difference may simply come from different assumptions. That's why I would never tell you to chase a 95% score just because it looks better than 85%. An 85% result is not an automatic disaster, and a 95% result is not a guarantee. The better question is, what does this percentage assume, and what happens if real life doesn't follow those assumptions? That's where retirement planning becomes much more useful. Because your goal isn't to build a portfolio that looks perfect inside a calculator. Your goal is to build a retirement plan that can adapt when reality doesn't follow the spreadsheet. And that is the gap between a high Monte Carlo score and a strong real-world retirement plan.
So if the Monte Carlo score isn't the answer, what should you do with it?
Don't throw the calculator away. Use it as a stress testing tool, not as a crystal ball. The first step is to look underneath the percentage. If your retirement plan shows a 95% success rate, ask what created that number. What investment return is the model assuming? What inflation rate is it using? How much are you withdrawing every year? Is your spending fixed or does it adjust when markets fall? How long are you expected to live? What tax assumptions are being used? These details matter because the output is only as useful as the assumptions behind it. Build a plan that can adjust. Let's say you're planning to retire at 65 with $1 million invested. Instead of saying, "I need a 95% success rate," create a response plan. For example, if the market has a major decline early in retirement, you might temporarily reduce discretionary spending. Maybe you delay an expensive vacation. Maybe you pause a large financial gift to an adult child. Maybe you reduce withdrawals from your investment portfolio for a period of time. The exact decision depends on your situation. The important point is that your plan has a response mechanism. This is where flexible withdrawal strategies can be more realistic than pretending your spending will follow one perfectly straight line for 30 years. Your essential expenses may be relatively stable. Your discretionary expenses are different. That's an important distinction. If Social Security, pensions, or other guaranteed income cover most of your basic living expenses, you may have more flexibility with the money coming from your investment portfolio. And if your portfolio falls sharply, you can make decisions based on what is actually happening instead of blindly following a number generated years earlier. Test more than one scenario. Don't just run one simulation. Run several reasonable versions of your retirement plan. What happens if returns are weaker than expected? What happens if inflation stays elevated? What happens if you live to age 95 or 100? What happens if your first few years of retirement are particularly bad for stocks? And what happens if you need significantly more money for healthcare or long-term care? You don't need to predict which scenario will happen. You need to know what you would do if it happens. That's a much stronger way to use a retirement calculator. And there's one more important correction to the way these numbers are often presented. A Monte Carlo result is not necessarily saying you have X% chance of being financially successful in life. It's more precise to say that under the model's assumptions and simulated scenarios, the portfolio met the model's definition of success X% of the time. That wording may sound less exciting, but it's much more accurate. And accuracy matters when you're making decisions about money you'll need for the rest of your life. So instead of trying to push your score from 90% to 95% simply because 95 looks safer, focus on something more valuable. Build a retirement plan that still gives you choices when the assumptions are wrong. That is what makes a retirement plan resilient. Here's the practical step I want you to take today. Open your retirement calculator, look at your current success percentage, but don't change anything just to make that number higher. Instead, write down the assumptions behind it. What age are you retiring? How much are you planning to spend each year? What rate of return is being assumed? What inflation rate is being used? How long does the plan assume you'll live? And most importantly, what happens if the market performs badly during your first 5 years of retirement? That last question deserves special attention. A major market decline early in retirement can be much more damaging than the same decline later because you're withdrawing money while the portfolio is falling. That's known as sequence of returns risk. A simple average return can hide that risk. A Monte Carlo analysis can help reveal it by testing many different sequences of returns. That's one of the reasons the tool is genuinely valuable. So don't look at Monte Carlo and say, "This calculator is wrong." Instead, say, "This calculator is answering one question. Now I need to answer the rest." Ask yourself what you would actually do during a serious downturn. Would you continue your planned withdrawals? Would you reduce discretionary spending? Would you delay a major purchase? Would you rebalance? Would you change your investment allocation? Write your answer down before the next major market decline happens, because making a decision during a crisis is very different from making one while everything feels calm. And there's another step. Separate your retirement expenses into two groups: essential spending, housing, food, utilities, insurance, healthcare, and other expenses you realistically cannot cut, and flexible spending, travel, entertainment, large gifts, major purchases, and other expenses you could reduce if necessary. Now you have something a calculator alone cannot give you: a real-world adjustment plan. And remember, an 85% or 90% result does not automatically mean your retirement plan is failing. It may simply mean the model found scenarios where adjustments would be necessary. The goal isn't to create a magical 100% score. The goal is to know what you will do when the plan gets tested. That's the real lesson. A retirement calculator can test your portfolio. It can help you understand longevity risk. It can show you sequence of returns risk. It can compare different withdrawal strategies. But it cannot predict your behavior, your family decisions, your health, or every change in the financial world over the next 30 years. So use the percentage, study the assumptions, stress test the plan, and then build a strategy that can adapt. The number on the screen is not your retirement. Your decisions are.